In this video, my friend, I'm going to share with you how to think like the 1%. And contrary to what you may believe, it's not about the bling, it's not about the jewelry you're going to be wearing, it's not about where you live, it's not even about the car that you're going to be driving as far as your daily transportation is concerned. This is something key that you don't want to miss, all right? Dimitri, let's get right into it. I believe it was Shakespeare who said it a few years ago. All of life is a stage. We are here to assume different roles and live life according to what we see as a script within our head. So some people believe that they were designed, born to be poor people, so they live their life according to the script of poverty. Others believe that they were simply sent here to be extras in other people's movies. So they live their life according to the script of an extra, which is simply to observe what is happening and from time to time to simply say, oh, and that's it. Because your whole life is meant to be lived as an extra in the stands. Others, on the other hand, believe that they were designed for a more prominent role within society. So then they go on to live the best life as far as life is concerned. But then here's where things get quite interesting. From time to time, amongst the spectators, amongst the extras, there's going to be a few people who are going to say to themselves, my goodness, if so and so can do it, so can I. So they're going to muster the courage to go from being a spectator to becoming the main actor. But what will happen is, in order for them to be embraced in the arena of the main actors, they will need to show up because they are still newbies, they are rookies. They feel they will need to show up dressed like people who have already reconditioned their minds. So in order for you to be seen as someone serious, you need to start changing how you dress. You need to start changing the type of car you drive in order for you to be embraced by this elite community. Because if you show up otherwise, nobody will want to transact with you. Nobody will want to talk with you because they say, yes, this person is not our level yet. But as life goes on, as you eventually start climbing up and become one of the top 1%, you no longer need to rely on these props in order for you to be seen as an equal. You simply need to transform your mind in order for you to be seen as one of the people amongst the top 1%. And then the funny thing is, those who understand what they only see and what they focus on is, oh my goodness, so and so must have made it because so and so started dressing differently. So and so must have made it because so and so changed the type of car they were driving. So therefore, if I can only change the type of car I drive, or if I can only change how I dress, if I can buy something that resembles what the top 1% wears on a daily basis, then I'm going to be seen as a top 1%. But what they don't realize is, in order for you to fit in, you will no longer need the props at one point. The props are only for people who are simply trying to condition their own minds. Because the way of the 1% is completely different. As a matter of fact, they don't dress like the movie stars you see on the movies. They are simply as discreet as possible because they are trying not to draw attention to themselves. And that's something key. They will need to switch as far as how to think like the 1%. It's not so much about what you wear. It's not so much about the type of watches that you carry, the collection of watches you have. It's simply about how you're going to be seeing yourself in the mirror when no one is watching. Because who you see is simply going to be reflected in the public arena. Let me start with a perfect example of someone we quickly realized that yes, in order for me to actually just propel myself to the top, I may need to have the props at one point, but I don't believe that the props are exactly what made the top 1% the elite as far as any field is concerned. 1956, somewhere in Ethiopia, a young man who was actually working as part of the guards for the Majesty Haile Selassie A young man by the name of Abebe Bikila heard through the radio that there was an event taking place somewhere in Australia during the summer where the top of the top, the creme de la creme, as far as track and field is concerned, were competing for the top prize in the field called marathon. He listened intently and he found out about this particular event. And he said to himself, right then and there, he says, I can beat all these people. People say, but how could you possibly see yourself as a top contender, as a champion, where you have never even participated in a type of competition? He said, I run from my house to where I work every single day, 20 kilometers. And from the place, my workplace, back to my house, I run another 20 kilometers every single day of the week. So there is absolutely no way I'm going to go there and fail. But something quickly was brought to his attention. But these people competing over there in Australia, they all look different. You know that, right? Oh, yeah, I know. And you know that most of them have access to things that you don't even possess. It has such as what? Such as shoes. You do most of these things basically, and you don't have the proper running shoes. How can you possibly go on to beat people who run with the most advanced technology when it comes to shoes? He says, don't worry about it. It's going to be a miracle. He started training in 1956 under the guidance of Oninis, who was actually training also the guard working for his Emperor Haile Selassie. And within 4 years, he managed to get a very decent shape to actually qualify for the Olympics. And as he goes to Rome, the day of the competition, he realized that yes, there was no shoes for him. In other words, he showed up for the ball, but there was no outfits, no tuxedo for him to be allowed amongst la creme de la creme. But he said to himself right there and there, I know exactly how this thing works. I know all of life is a stage, and I know it's not so much about the props, but it's about how I see myself internally. So I'm therefore going to see myself as a winner no matter what. If there is no shoes as far as this competition is concerned, I'm still going to compete. And guess what? I'm going to take the lead. Before the competition started, people looked at him, how he looked. They say, we have never seen this guy. Number one. Number two, when they glance and they saw his feet, they say, but this guy is barefoot. How could he possibly run over 40 kilometers on the cobblestones of Rome barefoot? This guy must be a lunatic. But as soon as the guy started running, they realized that yes, all of life is a stage, but in order for you to make it to the top, as far as the stage is concerned, you don't need a prop. You simply need an unwavering belief or conviction about who you are and what you bring into the table. And guess what? The rest is history. He ended up winning in a convincing manner. Example number two, and that's a more contemporary example just to show you that it's not so much about the props, but it's about who you see yourself in the mirror. When you look yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Who do you see? Because the type of person you see in the mirror when you look yourself in the mirror is going to determine the type of expectation you're going to have and the type of action you're going to start taking on a daily basis towards your vision. A few years ago, a young man by the name of Lil Wayne, he went on to create a buzz around his own name because he had the audacity to say that he was or he is the best rapper alive. And that's basically as far as the whole world is concerned. So basically, he went to the top of the mountain and he looked around the world. He saw that yes, as far as Europe is concerned, I am the best. As far as France is concerned, forget about MC Solar, forget about the rest of the French rappers, I am the best. He looked around to Africa and it says, as far as Africa is concerned, those who speak English, those who speak French, and those who speak African languages, I'm still the best rapper alive. And of course, very quickly, that statement or assertion was challenged because people says the general consensus is that the best rapper alive is not you. It's must be Jay-Z, but not you. And people started challenging this statement from all over the place. And at one point, he went on to explain exactly what he meant by that. He says, well, of course, we know that I am not the best of the best. But in order for me to get out of my bed on a daily basis, I must be feeling like I am the best of the best. Because if I don't feel like I am the best of the best, if I look myself in the mirror and I don't see that I am the best of the best, so what's the point of leaving my house to go out there to write lyrics? What's the point of leaving my house to go to the studio and try to come up with amazing lines, bars as far as music is concerned? Because after all, if I'm here as an extra, I might as well just stay home. So you must convince yourself that you are, no matter what, the best of the best. And that's how you're going to come to a place where you're going to start making history. And that was Lil Wayne. Not a very tall guy. Not a very big muscular guy, not the brightest mind out there. Is not an Ivy League graduate as far as intellectuals are concerned, but it's simply someone who rose to the top by simply believing that he was the best of the best in the field of rap. Let me just end with a particular story. The other day, I was driving with my daughter in the car, and she asked me, Daddy, please tell me a story about when you were growing up. I said, I'll tell you a story I've never told you before. This story can be quite interesting depending on the angle from which you're going to be listening to the story. I said to her, once upon a time, back in the days where classes were made of more than 40 people, there was a test that we took, so I believe grade 5. So we write the test. And after writing the test, this class of about 43 students, we were to receive now the feedback as to how we perform. The day was supposed to receive the information. The principal, a very bright person, I will not call him wicked, but a very bright person, decided in order for him to create a sense of meritocracy, a sense of elitism as far as we're concerned, this result might be made public. So our class had to receive the information at the same time as everyone else in the school during a school gathering. So in front of a crowd of more than 500 people, that's when we found out exactly how we did. The first one was called. Everyone applauded for the first one, and so on and so forth. Then we went for the fifth one, the sixth one, the 10th one, 15th one, 20th one, 25th, 30th, 40th, and by the time we reached 40, of course, the tension was palpable because the question was now, who amongst the three students that remained over there were going to be found guilty of not having studied the way they were supposed to study. So we were very tense ourselves. We looked at each other, we simply said, my goodness, I guess today is a big day. One was called and it was only two people left behind, basically myself and another person. I said, my goodness, oh my goodness, maybe I should just go before this person. I'm just waiting for the principal to call the next person. To my surprise, oh my goodness, the principal called the other friend. So as the other friend was called, as soon as my friend's name was called, guess what? The whole school erupted in laughter. They said, oh my goodness, so that's him. Dimitri failed. Dimitri is the failure. So they started pointing fingers. They started laughing. And it was so loud that my teacher that at that point chose to step in to defend and say, but no, he may have failed this particular test, but this guy is otherwise bright as far as everything else is concerned. So there is no need to make fun of him the way that you are. Kids being kids, they kept on laughing and eventually they settled down because we had to move to the next stage as far as the presentation is concerned. But what they didn't know was that there was also a presentation that our class was supposed to deliver as far as that particular day is concerned. And amongst the people who had been chosen to make the presentation, I was the last person who was now supposed to go deliver my presentation. I simply decided to seize the moment and let these people know who Dimitri was as far as that day is concerned. I say, you are going to remember my name. As soon as my name was called, I looked at how my friend had presented, almost borderline shy as far as presence is concerned. I said, this is now going to be me. So I waited until everyone had gone completely quiet, and I calmly walked the very center where I could now be seen from all different angles. From that point, I took another pregnant pause. I seized the moment, and then I started speaking. Le rocher et le ruisseau. And after I was done saying the first few lines, I took another 5 minute pregnant pause to simply let everyone know that now it was my time. Needless to say, by the time my time was over for the presentation, the whole school, the same crowd that made fun of me, was now erupting in cheers, saying, my goodness, what a magnificent presentation. Some even broke protocol. They ran through the crowd to come to me and say, but who are you? And one guy, I will never forget his name. Anyways, let me just park it there. He said to me, but what did you drink or what did you smoke before coming in? Because this is completely unprecedented. How did you speak with so much conviction and you were so fearless in front of the whole crowd that just made fun of you? I chuckled and I never gave me an answer. Let me tell you what the answer would have been. From an early age, I realized that I could not be the best at everything. But I simply chose to believe that, yes, as far as my field is concerned, public speaking, I was going to be the best of the best. I chose to look at myself and see myself as the best of the best. I carry the same mentality as Lil Wayne, to simply believe that, yes, I must be the best one out there. I must be the best presenter alive as far as my field is concerned. And why is this particularly important? Because if you don't see yourself as the best of the best, you're going to come to the same conclusion as Lil Wayne. What will be the point of leaving your house on a daily basis? What will be the point of going to the office on a daily basis if you don't choose to believe that you are the best of the best? So instead of actually believing all the lies that the people are there trying to feed you, choose to believe that you are the Eminem of your field. Choose to believe that you are the Vanilla Ice of your field. Choose to believe that you are, yes, the Jay-Z of your field. Choose to believe that you are the MC Solar of your field. That's how slowly but actually go to make history. Let me just tell you why this is also particularly important. You have to come to understand one key thing. In order for you to make it big as far as the stage of life is concerned, you simply have to have a conviction as far as the script that you see in front of you. You must believe that you are the best person capable of delivering the best line in the most convincing manner as far as the script is concerned. Because once you do that, my friend, you're going to simply come to realize one something key. How the top 1% brainwash themselves. They're not the best because they have access to all the fancy props. They are the best because they choose to see themselves differently. They are the best because they choose to believe that they are the top 1%. And because of this conviction, it causes them now to create expectation. Expectation causes them now to have different behaviors, and behavior ultimately end up giving them exactly the kind of momentum they simply confirm that they were the best as far as the field is concerned. So in this season, my friend, if there's any one thing you must do, it's to simply choose to brainwash yourself to believe that, yes, you are already the best of the best. I choose to believe that, yes, as far as transformation is concerned, as far as the ability to cause one person to 10x themselves, and as far as the ability to cause one person to re-engineer the potential, there is absolutely no one like me. I can cause someone who's basically on the deathbed to believe that, yes, there is still life as far as what they're carrying is concerned, and to get up and to go on to simply achieve in 1 year what they would have been unable to achieve in over 60 years. Why? Because that's how I choose to see myself. And of course, you too can do the same thing as far as your own field is concerned. Much love, everyone. Brainwash yourself, all right?